Zira's scales snapped to a deep red, her heart racing. Who is it? Talak's fingers flew over his console. Zorvath warship. They're hailing us. The Zorvath. Zira's stomach twisted. Known for their aggression, the Zorvath claimed to be the true heirs of the Old Ones, a belief that had fueled conflicts across the galaxy. Centuries ago, during the Battle of Klyros, a Zorvath fleet nearly decimated a Zarian colony before being driven off, a victory still celebrated on Zarion. Historians still debate whether the Zorvath's attack was a religious crusade or a grab for resources, but their hostility was undeniable. "Put them on screen," Reed ordered, his jaw tight. The view screen flickered, revealing Commander Varkan, his angular face and glowing eyes like something carved from obsidian. "This is Commander Varkan of the Zorvath Empire," he growled, his voice grinding like metal on stone. "You possess the Enigma relic, stolen from its rightful owners. Surrender it, or be destroyed." Zira stepped forward, her translator, relaying her defiance. "The relic was found on Earth. It belongs to the humans, not you." Varkan's eyes narrowed to slits. "The Old Ones chose us, the Zorvath, as their heirs. You are unworthy. Hand it over or face annihilation." Reed crossed his arms, unfazed. "We're not in the mood for charity. Come and get it." The screen went dark, and the Zorvath ship's weapons powered up, their hull glinting like a predator's scales under starlight. "They're charging," Talak said, his tail flicking. "Shields up." The Vindicator's shields hummed to life, and the Endeavor, though battered, raised its own. Zira turned to Reed. "We need a plan. The Zorvath are tough, but we've got 2 ships and some tricks up our sleeves." Reed nodded, his eyes sharp. "The Endeavor's faster. We can play decoy, draw their fire, and let the Vindicator hit them hard." As the Zorvath ship closed in, its weapons bristling, Zira's mind raced. "Talak, target their engines. If we can cripple their mobility, they're done." "On it," Talak said, his fingers a blur. "Though, gotta say, their ship looks like a spiky fruit." "Ever seen a durian?" Zira smirked, despite the tension. "Focus, Talak, no fruit metaphors." On the Endeavor, Dr. Chen's voice crackled through the comms. "I've been digging into that Old One's message from the relic. It's a warning about the Zorvath. They're not the heirs. They're scavengers, chasing the Old Ones. Tech for power." Zira's scales flashed blue with intrigue. "What else does it say?" "It says the true heirs will use the relic for unity, not conquest," Chen replied. "The Zorvath are frauds," Reed grinned. "Guess we're the chosen ones after all. Let's prove it." The Zorvath fired, plasma bolts slamming into the Vindicator's shields. The ship shuddered, but held. "Return fire," Captain Vark bellowed. The Vindicator's lasers sliced through the void, grazing the Zorvath's armor. But their shields were like iron. "They're tough," Kor growled. "We need a weak spot." Zira's eyes fell on the Enigma relic, its surface shimmering with an otherworldly glow. "The relic's material. It bends light, almost like it's alive. Can we use it to mess with their sensors?" Chen's voice lit up. "Genius. If we rig it to emit a pulse, we could scramble their targeting systems." They scrambled to work, Chen and Zira linking the relic to the Endeavor's systems. Meanwhile, the Endeavor weaved through the Zorvath's fire, its agility frustrating. "The enemy. Keep them guessing," Reed shouted, piloting with a grin. "This is like dodging traffic in New York." Talak laughed over the comms. "If this is your driving, remind me never to visit Earth." The battle raged, the void alight with energy blasts. The Zorvath's ability to phase through solid matter for brief moments, an unusual trait that made them nearly untouchable, kept them ahead, their shots grazing both ships. But Zira and Chen were ready. "Pulse is charged," Chen said. "Hit it!" Zira triggered the relic, and a wave of distorted light erupted, washing over the Zorvath ship. Their systems went haywire, weapons misfired, shields flickered. "Now!" Reed yelled. "Full attack!" The Vindicator and Endeavor unleashed everything, lasers and missiles hammering the Zorvath's weakened defenses. The enemy ship, overwhelmed, turned and fled, limping into the darkness. Cheers erupted across both bridges. In the Endeavor's mess hall, the crews gathered. exhaustion mingling with triumph. Zira raised a glass of Zarian nectar. To friends, old legends, and kicking Zorvath tail. Reed clinked his glass, smirking. And to proving we're tougher than we look. As Luna purred in Tilak's lap, Zira's scales glowed gold, hope. The Zorvath were gone, but the relic's message lingered, a promise of unity that felt stronger than ever. Zira leaned against the Vindicator's viewport, her scales a soft blue as she watched the pulsar's eerie glow pulse in the distance. Its rhythmic hum vibrated through the ship, a cosmic heartbeat that felt both beautiful and menacing. The Endeavor floated nearby, its hull patched but still battered from the Zorvath skirmish. Both crews were exhausted, but the mood was high, until the navigation systems on both ships glitched, stranding them in the pulsar's gravitational pull. Great, Tilak muttered, sprawled at his console, tail flicking. We beat the bad guys and now we're stuck in a cosmic blender. Typical. Captain Marcus Reed patched into the Vindicator's comms from the Endeavor, chuckled. Could be worse. At least we've got company. Zira's translator hummed, catching Reed's wry tone. She glanced at Captain Vark, who was pacing the bridge, his faded scales glinting under the lights. Any luck with the nav systems? She asked. Vark shook his head. The pulsar's radiation is scrambling everything. We need to recalibrate or we'll be pulled in. Dr. Liam Chen's voice crackled over the comms. Same on our end. Our computers are throwing tantrums. Got any Zirian magic for this? Tilak smirked. Magic? Nah. But I've got a wrench and bad ideas. Zira rolled her eyes but felt a spark of hope. The crews had already proven they could handle chaos together. She volunteered to join Chen on the Endeavor's engineering deck, bringing Tilak and the Enigma relic, its symbols glowing faintly in her hands. The relic tied to the old ones had saved them before. Maybe it could again. In the Endeavor's engine room, the air was thick with the tang of coolant and the buzz of overworked systems. Chen, glasses fogged from the heat, pointed to a sparking console. The nav array's fried. We need to shield it from the pulsar's radiation. Tilak examined the relic, its surface shimmering like liquid starlight. This thing's weird. It's channeling the pulsar's energy, not blocking it. That's not normal tech. Chen's eyes widened. You're right, it's like it's feeding off the radiation. If we can amplify that, we might stabilize both ships. Zira's scales flashed yellow, curiosity. How did your people even find this thing? Chen shrugged, wiping sweat from his brow. Dug it up in Antarctica, thought it was a fancy paperweight until we realized it wasn't from Earth. Kinda like finding a spaceship in your backyard. Tilak laughed. Your backyard grows spaceships? I need to visit Earth. As they worked, Zira and Reed found themselves in the Endeavor's mess hall taking a break. Luna curled up in Zira's lap, purring softly. Reed sipped a rehydrated coffee, grimacing. This stuff's awful, but it's home. Zira tilted her head. What's home like for you? Reed's eyes softened. Earth's messy, wars, disasters, but we keep going. Back in 1986, we lost a shuttle, the Challenger. Right after launch, 7 lives gone. It hit hard, but we rebuilt, kept exploring. That's who we are. Zira nodded, her scales shifting to a somber purple. We lost a colony to a solar flare centuries ago, thousands gone. We mourned, but it pushed us to master. Energy shields. Loss teaches you to hold on tighter. Reed met her gaze. Sounds like we're not so different. Their talk turned to lighter things, music, stories. Reed played a human song, a soulful melody with lyrics about wandering. Zira shared a Zirian chant, its haunting tones echoing in the mess hall. The crews gathered, drawn by the sounds, and soon they were swapping tales and laughs. Tilak, back in engineering, groaned as a console sparked. Your music's nice, but it's not fixing this mess. Humans got any songs about navigation? Chenny grinned, tossing him a tool. Keep whining and I'll make you listen to opera. The breakthrough came when Chen and Tilak rigged the relic to emit a stabilizing pulse, shielding both ships' nav systems. The pulsar's pull weakened, and the consoles hummed back to life. Cheers erupted across both bridges. Later in the mess hall, Reed raised a glass of Zarian nectar to friends who turned disasters into wins. Zira clinked her glass, her scales glowing gold, and to the stars that keep us together. But Chen, ever the skeptic, leaned back. This alliance is great, but is it universal? Scholars back. Home debate whether shared hardships always build trust. Some say it's just survival, not friendship. Zira considered this. On Zarion, we argue the same. Our Velian alliance held, but others didn't. Historians still debate if it's the struggle or the choice to connect. Reed smirked. Well, we chose this. That's enough for me. As Luna leapt onto Talak's shoulder, earning a startled yelp, Zira felt the weight of their journey. They weren't just allies. They were friends bound by more than survival. The stars outside seemed to wink, promising more adventures ahead. The breakthrough came when Chen and Tilak rigged the relic to emit a stabilizing pulse, shielding both ships' nav systems. The pulsar's pull weakened, and the consoles hummed back to life. Cheers erupted across both bridges. Later in the mess hall, Reed raised a glass of Zarian nectar to friends who turned disasters into wins. Zira clinked her glass, her scales glowing gold, and to the stars that keep us together. But Chen, ever the skeptic, leaned back. This alliance is great, but is it universal? Scholars back home debate whether shared hardships always build trust. Some say it's just survival, not friendship. Zira considered this. On Zarion, we argue the same. Our Velian alliance held, but others didn't. Historians still debate if it's the struggle or the choice to connect. Reed smirked. Well, we chose this. That's enough for me. As Luna leapt onto Talak's shoulder, earning a startled yelp, Zira felt the weight of their journey. They weren't just allies, they were friends, bound by more than survival. The stars outside seemed to wink, promising more adventures ahead. Zira sat cross-legged in the Endeavor's science lab, the Enigma relic glowing softly on the table before her. Its surface shimmered like a captured nebula, casting faint rainbows. Across the cluttered room, the air hummed with the low buzz of consoles, undercut by a metallic tang from the ship's overworked systems. Dr. Liam Chen, glasses perched precariously, tapped at a hollow interface, his brow furrowed. This relic's data is insane, he muttered. It's like trying to read a library in one sitting. Zira's scales flickered yellow, curiosity on overdrive. What have you found? Chen grinned, his excitement contagious. A new data layer. The old ones didn't just leave symbols. They left a message locked in quantum memory. It's been sitting here for millennia, waiting for the right key. Quantum memory? Zira asked, her translator humming. That's not something we've cracked, Chen nodded. Exactly. This relic stores info across time, stable for eons. Earth's best tech can't touch that. Talak, lounging nearby with a tool in hand, snorted. So it's a fancy USB drive? My grandma's got one of those, but it mostly holds bad recipes. Zira shot him a look, but Chen laughed. If your grandma's recipes can rewrite history, I'm impressed. They activated the relic, and a hologram flickered to life. A towering figure cloaked in light. Its form neither human nor Zarian, but somehow both. Its voice, deep and resonant, filled the room. Translated by the Vindicator's Matrix. We are the old ones, architects of seeds. Long ago we sowed life on distant worlds, guiding two kin, those of the blue oceans and those of the desert, spires, to meet when ready. You stand together now as we foresaw. The hologram faded, leaving silence. Zira's scales flashed blue, her mind reeling. They seeded us, humans and Zarians. We're related. Chen pushed his glasses up. Stunned. That explains why your tech and ours vibe so well. Same blueprint, different flavors. They called both crews to the Endeavor's mess hall, where tables were shoved together, and Luna the cat sprawled across a chair, purring like a tiny reactor. The air was warm, thick with the scent of rehydrated coffee and Zarian nectar. Captain Reed leaned forward, his eyes sharp. So we're cosmic cousins. That's a lot to unpack. Zira held up the relic, its glow steady. The old ones planned this, us meeting. Your Enigma relic, our Temple of Stars. They're pieces of the same puzzle. Dr. Elena Vasquez spoke up. On Earth, we've got stories like this. In 1969, when Apollo 11 landed on the moon, we broadcast a message of peace to the universe. Maybe the old ones heard it, saw we were ready. Zira nodded, her scales shifting to a thoughtful purple. We have a legend, the Great Migration, when our ancestors crossed Zerion's deserts to find the first starships. Some say the old ones guided them. Historians still debate if it was divine or just survival. Lieutenant Harris chuckled. Sounds like our debates. Were the pyramids alien landing pads or just fancy tombs? The room buzzed with discussion. Ensign Patel, wide-eyed, asked, "If we're from the same seed, why are we so different? You've got scales, we've got skin." Chen leaned back. That's the big question. Is it because the old ones tweaked us for our worlds? Or did we evolve differently from the same start? Scientists on Earth argue convergent evolution, similar traits from separate paths. This relic suggests a shared origin instead. Zira's scales glowed gold, hope. Maybe it's both. We're different, but we dream the same, exploring, connecting. Reed sipped his coffee, grimacing. If the old ones gave us coffee, they've got some explaining to do. This stuff's a war crime. Talak laughed, his tail flicking. Your coffee's bad, but your stories, not half bad. The crew swapped more tales. Human myths of star gods, Zerian songs of celestial guides. Zira played a Zerian melody on a hollow flute, its notes weaving through the room, while Vasquez shared a human folk song, her voice soft but strong. Luna, unimpressed, yawned and stretched, earning chuckles. As the night deepened, Reed and Zira stood by the viewport, stars stretching endlessly before them. "This changes everything," Reed said. "We're not just allies, we're family in a weird cosmic way." Zira's scales shimmered. "It makes me wonder what else the old ones left for us to find." Chen, joining them, held up a data pad. "There's more in the relic, coordinates maybe to an old one's archive. Want to take a road trip?" Talak overheard, groaning. "A road trip with human tech? Hope it's sturdier than your coffee makers." Reed smirked. "Stick with us, Talak. We'll show you how humans roll." As Luna nuzzled Zira's hand, the crew's laughter echoed, a testament to bonds forged not just by survival, but by shared roots. The stars outside seemed to pulse, with promise, whispering of secrets yet to be unveiled. Zira stood on the Vindicator's bridge, her scales a steady green as she studied the Enigma relic, its surface pulsing with a soft, otherworldly glow. The bridge hummed with the low buzz of consoles, the air tinged with the faint metallic scent of recycled oxygen. Captain Marcus Reed, patched in via hologram from the Endeavor, leaned forward, his expression a mix of excitement and caution. Both ships, now repaired, floated side by side, their crews gathered for a joint briefing. Luna, the Endeavor's cat, sprawled across a console, purring like a tiny starship engine. Dr. Liam Chen held up a data pad, the relic's coordinates glowing in holographic blue. These point to a system in the Orion Spur, about 3 light-years out. Could be an old one's archive, think library but with galaxy-altering secrets. Zira's scales flickered yellow. Curiosity. "What's the catch?" Chen grinned. "The catch? It's near a nebula with funky gravitational waves. Navigation's gonna be a nightmare." Talak slouched at his station, snorted. "Humans and their plans. You say archive, I hear cosmic booby trap. Ever consider just staying home?" Reed chuckled over the comms. "Where's the fun in that? Besides, we've got a map. Kinda." Zira's translator caught Reed's sarcasm, and she smiled. "Let's break it down. What do we need to get there?" Captain Vark, his faded scales glinting, spoke up. "The Vindicator's sensors can handle the nebula's interference, but we'll need the Endeavor's agility to dodge debris. Fuels tight after the pulsar mess, so we plot a direct route." Lieutenant Harris from the Endeavor nodded. We can stretch our reserves with some tweaks. Humans are good at improvising. Back in 1977, we launched the Voyager probes with a golden record, a message for aliens. Barely had the budget, but we made it work. Zira tilted her head. A message? Like our great star mapping, when we sent probes to chart the galaxy. Some say the old ones inspired it. Historians still debate if it was their tech or our ambition. Dr. Elena Vasquez chimed in. That's the spirit. We're explorers, just like our ancestors. But this archive, should we even disturb it? What if it's sacred? Chen frowned. Good point. On Earth, we've got debates about digging up ancient sites. Is it discovery or desecration? The old ones might not love us poking around. Zira's scales shifted to a thoughtful purple. We've got the same argument on Zerion. Some say exploring honors the old ones. Others think it risks their legacy. Historians still debate whether our first starships were gifts or theft. Reed leaned back. We're here now. If the old ones left us a map, they wanted us to follow. Right? The room buzzed with agreement, but logistics loomed. Ensign Maya Patel raised a hand. What about diplomacy? If we find tech or beings, do we negotiate or study first? Vark's tail twitched. Zerian protocol says observe, then engage. But humans seem less patient. Harris laughed. Guilty. We dive in, figure it out later. Zira glanced at the relic, noticing something new. A faint signal pulsing in sync with the coordinates. Chen, check this. The relic's emitting a navigational beacon adapting to local space-time. It's like it's guiding us. Chen's eyes widened. That's wild. It's not just a map, it's a GPS that thinks. No wonder the Zorvath wanted it. Talak groaned. Great. Now it's a smart map. Next it'll demand coffee breaks. Reed smirked. If it does, it's getting decaf. Our coffee's bad enough. The crews split into teams. Zira and Chen to refine the relic's signal. Talak and Harris to boost engine efficiency. And Vasquez and Vark to draft diplomatic protocols. In the Endeavor's mess hall, they took a break, sharing music, human, jazz, and Zerian harmonics, while Luna batted at a stray cable, earning laughs. Zira and Reed stood by the viewport, stars glinting like promises. Your people take risks, Zira said. It's inspiring. Hey everyone, tonight we're diving into a tale that's been whispered in the dark corners of the galaxy for eons. Imagine this. You're sitting in your cozy spaceship, sipping on some alien brew, when suddenly, your radar pings with something unknown. Not just any unknown, but a signal that's been the stuff of legends. Yeah, you probably won't survive this encounter. But hey, that's what makes it exciting, right? So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. But only if you really like what I do here. And hey, drop your location and local time in the comments. Let's see who's tuning in from which corner of the universe. Now, turn off the lights, maybe turn on the fan for some soothing noise, and let's get started tonight. Zira stared at the radar screen, her eyes narrowing as she tried to make sense of the blip that had appeared out of nowhere. The hum of the ship's engines was a constant backdrop, but now it seemed louder, more insistent, as if urging her to pay attention. Her fingers danced across the controls, adjusting filters and zooming in on the anomaly. It wasn't just another asteroid or stray comet. This was something else entirely. Captain, she called out, her voice steady but with a hint of excitement. I'm picking up something on radar. It's not like anything we've seen before. Captain Vark, a seasoned veteran with scales that had faded to a dull green over the years, lumbered over to her station. He peered at the screen, his brow furrowing. What is it, Zira? Another asteroid, a stray comet? No, sir, Zira replied, pointing at the screen. It's moving too fast for that, and its trajectory, it's not natural. It's like, it's on a course heading straight for us. Vark's eyes widened slightly, but he quickly composed himself. Probably just another false alarm like that time with the space whale migration. Remember how excited we got, thinking we'd found a new species only to realize it was just a bunch of creatures passing by? Zira smiled at the memory. Yeah, and then we had to explain to Command why we'd used up all our scanning resources. On a bunch of fish. Exactly, Vark said, clapping her on the shoulder. Let's not jump to conclusions. Run a full scan, see if we can get more data. As Zira initiated the scan, she couldn't shake the feeling that this was different. The way the signal flickered, almost as if it was alive, sending out pulses that seemed to have a rhythm. It reminded her of something she'd read in ancient texts. Stories of ships that traveled between stars, crewed by beings from another world. But those were just myths, tales told to scare younglings or inspire them with dreams of adventure. No one had ever found concrete evidence of such beings, at least not since the Great Disappointment, when the famed explorer Kalarn claimed to have encountered a ship from another galaxy, only for it to be revealed as a hoax, a cleverly disguised probe from their own civilization. Historians still debate whether Kalarn was a fraud or simply mistaken, but the incident had left a lasting impact on their society, making them wary of extraordinary claims. Still, Zira couldn't help but wonder. What if this time was different? What if the myths were true? The scan results came in, and Zira's heart skipped a beat. Captain, the composition, it's not matching any known materials. And the energy signature, it's unlike anything in our database. Also, there's a transmission, but it's in an unrecognized language. Vark frowned. Unrecognized? That's odd. Can you decode it? I'll try, Zira said, running the transmission through the historical database. After a few moments, the computer beeped. It's from the pre-unification era, Captain. It's a distress call. This is the Starship Endeavor. We are in need of assistance. Our life support is failing. Please respond. The crew fell, silent. The name Endeavor meant nothing to them, but the plea was clear. First Officer Mira, always the cautious one, spoke up. Captain, we don't know who they are. It could be a trap. Remember what happened to the SS Takara? Vark nodded grimly. The SS Takara had responded to a distress signal only to find themselves boarded by pirates. It was a lesson they all learned in Academy. True, Vark said. But we can't ignore a call for help, especially if they're in genuine need. Zira, can you get more information? Maybe hail them directly? Zira tried to establish communication, but there was no response, only the repeating distress signal. Perhaps their communication system is damaged, she suggested. Or perhaps it's a recording, Mira countered. They might not even be there anymore. Vark considered this. We'll proceed with caution. Shields up, weapons on standby, but let's see if we can render assistance. As they set course to intercept the mysterious ship, Talak, the engineer, leaned over Zira's shoulder. You know, if this is some ancient ship, maybe they have technology we've forgotten about. Like, remember that time we found that old data pad with recipes for food that actually tastes good? Zira chuckled. Yeah, and then we realized it was just a joke book. Exactly, Talak said. So probably nothing, but hey, a guy can dream. Finally, as they approached, the ship came into view on the view screen. It was unlike anything they had seen, sleek and silver, with strange markings that didn't match any known insignia. It was smaller than their vessel, but something about it exuded power and mystery. The crew gasped at its beauty. Talak whistled. Now that's what I call a ship. Think they'll give tours. Zira shot him a look. Talak, focus, they might need our help. I know, Talak said, raising his hands. But admit it, it's cool. Even Vark couldn't help but smile. It is impressive. Let's hope their intentions are as friendly as their design. As they prepared to dock with the mysterious vessel, Zira felt a shiver run down her spine. This was no ordinary ship. This was something from the legends, something that shouldn't exist. Yet here it was, right in front of them, waiting for them to make the next move. Little did she know that this was just the beginning of a journey that would change everything she thought she knew about the universe and about herself. As the Vindicator crept closer to the source of the mysterious signal, Zira could feel her heart racing. The bridge was thick with tension. Every crew member was on high alert, eyes darting between screens and each other. Captain Vark stood at the center, his presence steady but his gaze sharp. Mira, ever the cautious one, hovered near him, fingers poised over her console, ready to raise shields at a moment's notice. Talak leaned against his station with feigned nonchalance, though his tail flicked nervously behind him. "Scanners picking up anything yet?" Vark asked, his voice cutting through the low hum of machinery. Zira adjusted her controls, fine-tuning the radar feed. "Yes, Captain. There's definitely something there. It's not natural, it's artificial." A collective breath was released across the bridge. Artificial meant made by someone, or something. But either way, it wasn't just space debris, or a system glitch. Vark leaned forward slightly. "Any more details?" "Running a full scan now," Zira replied. Her fingers flew over the interface as data began to flood her screen. The scanners whirred softly, their steady sound almost soothing in the tense atmosphere. After a few seconds, though it felt like an eternity, the results appeared. "It's a ship, Captain. Half our size, made of materials not on our periodic table. Energy signature matches life support systems, but it's unstable." "Life signs?" Vark prompted. "Faint but present," Zira confirmed after a moment. "There are beings on board, or were recently. Their status is unclear." Mira frowned deeply. "This could be another hoax. Remember Kalarn and the Great Disappointment? He claimed alien technology too. Turned out to be an old probe of our own." Vark nodded gravely. The Great Disappointment was etched into every explorer's mind, a cautionary tale taught at every academy. Kalarn had been hailed as a hero until historians uncovered evidence that his discovery was either fabricated or grossly exaggerated. To this day, scholars debated whether Kalarn was a fraud or merely delusional, a debate fueled by fragmented records and conflicting testimonies. Regardless, his downfall had left an indelible mark on their society, making them wary of extraordinary claims. "We can't afford another mistake like Kalarn's," Mira continued. "We should pull back and report." Vark considered her, words before shaking his head. "We're here now. If there are lives at stake, and those life signs suggest there might be, it's our duty to investigate further. But we'll proceed with caution." Talak chuckled dryly. "Caution? Like when we cautiously investigated that space whale migration last year? Remember how excited we got thinking we'd found intelligent life, only for Command to laugh us off?" Zira smiled despite herself. "At least those whales weren't pirates." "True," Talak conceded. "Though if pirates did look like space whales, we'd all be in trouble." Vark shot him a look. "Focus, Talak. Let's see this thing." The main screen flickered and then displayed an image of a sleek vessel, unlike anything in their database. Its hull gleamed under the distant starlight, a polished silver interspersed with strange protrusions and intricate patterns etched into its surface. The patterns immediately caught Zira's eye. They weren't random. They seemed deliberate, almost like writing or symbols from a bygone era. "Those markings," Zira murmured, leaning closer. "They remind me of something." Vark turned to her. "What do you mean?" "I've seen similar designs in ancient texts," Zira explained. "Back on Zerion, in the Temple of Stars, there are glyphs like these carved into the stone. They're said to be from the Old Ones, mythical beings who supposedly traveled between stars before our civilization existed." Talak snorted. "Old Ones? Come on, Zira, you're buying into those fairy tales again? Next you'll be telling us those symbols are star maps or something." Zira shrugged. "Historians still debate whether those glyphs are merely decorative or hold some functional purpose. Some argue they're art, while others claim they're encoded knowledge lost to time." Mira crossed her arms. "Even if that's true, it doesn't mean this ship is related. Correlation doesn't imply causation." "True," Vark agreed. "But we can't ignore potential clues. Zira, try hailing them again." Zira opened a communication channel. "Unidentified vessel, this is the Starship Vindicator. We have received your distress signal and are here to assist. Please respond." Only static answered, followed by the repeating message. "This is the Starship Endeavor. We need assistance. Life support systems are failing. Please respond." No response, Zira reported. "It seems like an automated distress call." perhaps due to system failure. Talak leaned back in his chair. So, we boarding this thing or what? Vark hesitated before nodding decisively. We follow protocol. Since there are life signs and no response, we have a duty to render aid. Shields up, weapons on standby, but no aggressive action unless provoked. Let's dock and send a team. Mira looked uneasy. Captain, I know, Vark interrupted gently, but we're trained for this, and if there are survivors on board, we wouldn't forgive ourselves for turning away. Talak grinned mischievously. Besides, if this is ancient alien technology or worse, don't you want to be the first one on board rather than hearing about it secondhand? Zira rolled her eyes. Just don't touch anything important when we get inside. The last thing we need is you accidentally triggering a self-destruct because you think their control panel looks shiny. Talak feigned offense. Hey, that happened once, and besides, shiny things are important. As preparations for docking began, Zira couldn't shake the feeling that this moment would change everything. The signal was real, the ship was real, but what lay inside remained shrouded in mystery. And deep down she wondered if those ancient symbols held secrets about their past, or humanity's future. As the Vindicator's docking clamps secured the Endeavor, Zira's heart pounded like a drum in her chest. She stepped through the airlock, her boots clanging against the human ship's metallic floor. The air carried a sharp metallic tang, laced with a stale, musty scent, like a sealed vault left untouched for years. Behind her, Talak let out a low whistle, his eyes scanning the flickering corridor. Well, at least their decor is consistent, he quipped, gesturing at the sparking wires and loose panels. Everything's broken. Zira shot him a look, but couldn't suppress a smile. The hallway was a mess, bathed in the eerie red glow of emergency lights. A low hum vibrated through the floor, the ship's struggling systems groaning under the strain. Ensign Kor, his armored scales glinting, gripped his stun rifle tightly, while Technician Vex, wiry and jittery, muttered about preferring to fix. The Vindicator's glitchy replicator over exploring a derelict vessel. Life signs are strongest ahead, Zira said, glancing at her scanner. Let's move. The team moved cautiously, weapons drawn but set to stun. They reached a sealed door marked with unfamiliar letters. Human script, Zira realized. Talak stepped forward, his engineering tool whirring as he hacked the control panel. Child's play, he muttered, and with a hiss the door slid open, revealing a chamber lined with glowing cylindrical pods. Inside each, a human lay suspended, their faces serene as if caught in a dream. Stasis pods, Zira whispered, counting 5 in total. This is how they survived. Talak peered into one, his nose nearly touching the glass. They look so squishy. No scales, no armor. How do they even function? They're not pets, Talak, Zira said, rolling her eyes. They're intelligent like us. Debatable, Talak grinned, stepping back. Zira approached. A pod labeled Captain Marcus Reed. The man inside had short, dark hair and a stern expression, even in stasis. Let's start with him, she decided. The pod's controls were alien, their symbols indecipherable. Zira hesitated, then turned. To Talak. Can you crack this? Watch the master at work, Talak said, his tool buzzing as he interfaced with the system. Zira's mind wandered to history lessons about her people's first contact with the Velians, a species they'd met centuries ago. Both sides had been wary, each fearing the other's intentions. Historians still debated whether that encounter was driven by diplomacy or desperation, as both ships were stranded with dwindling supplies. Yet, it had forged a lasting alliance, a hopeful precedent for today. Got it, Talak announced. The pod's lid hissed open, releasing a cloud of cool, antiseptic-scented air. Reed stirred, his eyes fluttering open. He blinked, disoriented, then froze as he saw Zira's scaled face and Talak's reptilian features. His hand twitched toward a holstered sidearm, but weakness held him back. Zira raised her hands. We mean no harm, she said, her words translated into English by the Vindicator's matrix. I'm Zira from the starship Vindicator. We received your distress signal. Reed's eyes widened, but he didn't reach for his weapon again. He pushed himself up, wincing. "You're not human," he rasped, voice rough. "No." Zira confirmed. "We're from Zerion in the Orion Arm. We're here to help." Reed glanced at Kor's imposing frame and Vex's nervous fidgeting before returning to Zira. "Thank you," he said. "We hit an ion storm. Life support failed. So we entered stasis. How long have we been out?" "We don't know yet," Zira admitted. "Your systems are damaged, but you're safe now." A blaring alarm shattered the moment, red lights flashing across the room. Reed's face paled. "The power core. It's destabilizing. If it breaches, the ship's done." "Where is it?" Zira asked, urgency sharpening her voice. "Engine. Room 2 decks down," Reed said, struggling to stand. Talak steadied him, surprising Zira with his gentleness. "Easy, squishy," Talak said. "You're not running any marathons yet." Reed managed a weak smile. "It's a coolant leak. We need to seal it to stabilize the core." Zira nodded. "Talak, you're with me. Kor, Vex, stay here and monitor the systems. Report any changes." As they navigated the Endeavor's corridors, Zira marveled at its design. The walls were smooth, almost organic, made of lightweight alloys unlike anything in Zerian metallurgy, an unusual fact that hinted at human ingenuity. But there was no time to linger. They reached the engine room where steam hissed from ruptured pipes and consoles sparked. The core, a massive cylinder, pulsed erratically. "There," Reed pointed, leaning against a wall. "The coolant lines are breached. We need to reroute the flow." Talak was already at a console, his tool buzzing. "Your tech is weird," he muttered, "but I can work with it. Guide me." Reed explained the system, his voice steady despite his condition. Zira assisted, passing tools and relaying data. As they worked, a soft meow echoed through the room. Talak froze. What was that? Zira followed the sound to a crate, where a small, furry creature with green eyes stared up, tail twitching. "It's a pet," she said, recalling human customs. "A cat," Talak's jaw dropped. "It's so fluffy. Can it fix power cores too?" Reed chuckled. "No, but Luna's good company." Zira smiled as Luna purred, nuzzling her hand. It was a small, grounding moment amidst the chaos. They returned to work, sealing the leak and rerouting the coolant. The alarms fell silent, the core's hum stabilizing. Reed slumped against a console, relief evident. "You saved us, thank you." "It's what we do," Zira said, feeling a spark of connection. "Let's get your crew awake." Back on the bridge, Kor and Vex reported stable systems. Reed spoke up, thoughtful. "On Earth, some believed in aliens. Others thought it was nonsense. Looks like the believers were right." Zira nodded. "Our people have similar debates, whether ancient star traveler legends were real. Now, it seems they were." As they prepared to revive the others, Luna curled up in Talak's lap, purring contentedly. Zira knew this was more than a rescue. It was the dawn of something extraordinary. Zira stood on the Endeavor's bridge, her scales shimmering faintly under the flickering lights, as she watched the human crew adjust to their new reality. The whole air buzzed with a mix of anticipation and the steady hum of the ship's struggling systems. Captain Marcus Reed moved among his team, Dr. Elena Vasquez, Lieutenant Harris, Dr. Liam Chen, and Ensign Maya Patel, checking their vitals post-stasis. Their faces, so expressive compared to Zerian stoicism, flickered with relief and curiosity as they glanced at Zira, Talak, and the security officers Kor and Vex. Luna, the ship's cat, lounged on a console, her purring a soft counterpoint to the tension. "All right, folks," Reed said, clapping his hands. "Thanks to our new friends, we're alive. Let's get this ship back in shape." Talak, tinkering with a sparking console, snorted. "Your ship's a mess. Did you fly through a supernova for fun?" Vasquez smirked, handing him a tool. "Close, Ion Storm. You should see the other guy." Zira smiled, her translator implant humming as it parsed the human slang. The Vindicator's crew had set up a temporary camp on the Endeavor, sharing equipment, to repair the damaged systems. As they worked, conversation sparked, tentative at first but growing warmer. Zira found herself fascinated by the humans' openness, so different from the reserved Zirian way. During a break, Reed invited the Zirians to the mess hall, a cramped space with scuffed tables and a faint smell of recycled air. Not much to offer, he said, setting out nutrient bars and rehydrated packets. But it's food. Talak eyed a bar suspiciously, his tail flicking. This is food? Looks like something we'd use to patch hull breaches. Chen laughed, pushing a bar toward him. Try it, it's nutritious. Zira nibbled one, her face scrunching. It's like eating sand. On Zerion we have Krellis stew, spicy, made from a root that grows in our deserts. It's got a kick that warms you up. Sounds like chili, Vasquez said, eyes lighting up. Where I'm from, we'd fight over a good bowl of that. The talk turned to their worlds. Reed shared a story about Earth's first moon landing in 1969, when humans took their first steps on another celestial body. It was a giant leap, he said, quoting a famous line. Showed we could do anything if we set our minds to it. Zira nodded, impressed. That's bold. Our people didn't leave Zerion until we mastered zero-point energy, centuries ago. Let us travel faster than light, but it's risky. Our ships have to be tough to handle it. Harris raised an eyebrow. Zero-point energy? That's science fiction for us. You're saying it's real? Real enough, Zira said. But we don't fully understand it. Some say it's a gift from the old ones, our mythical star travelers. Patel leaned forward. Like ancient aliens. We've got theories like that on Earth, people saying aliens built our pyramids. Historians still debate whether our old ones were real or just stories, Zira said. Your ship makes me think there's truth to them. The humans exchanged looks, and Reed chuckled. Well, we're no ancient aliens, but we're glad to be here. As they ate, Zira noticed her scales shifting from green to a soft blue, a Zirian trait for expressing calm. Chen stared, fascinated. Your scales change color? That's incredible. It's how we show emotions, Zira explained. Green for focus, blue for calm, red for anger. It's involuntary, like your face is turning red. That's wild, Chen said. We just blush and hope no one notices. Talak grinned. You humans are like walking mood rings. Bet it's hard to lie. The group laughed and the mood lightened further when they tried a Zirian card game, Solara. Translation glitches caused hiccups. One human phrase, pass the buck, came out as throw the deer, leaving everyone in stitches. Your language is a minefield, Talak said, shaking his head. Later, they played poker, a human game. Talak accused Chen of cheating when he won 3 hands in a row. You're rigging this, Talak said, tossing his cards dramatically. It's skill, not cheating, Chen replied, winking. Want a rematch? The evening took a deeper turn when Reed pulled up a holographic display of Earth. Blue oceans, green forests, sprawling cities. The Zirians gasped, their scales flashing in awe. Zira shared a hologram of Zirion's crystalline spires and desert seas, earning murmurs of wonder from the humans. You know, Reed said, on Earth, we've argued about how to handle first contact. Some say it should be scientists, others want diplomats. What do your people think? Zira considered this. We're trained to explore, but there's debate. Should we approach as scholars or envoys? Our first contact with the Velians was messy, but it worked out. Historians still argue if it was luck or skill. Sounds familiar, Reed said. Guess we're both figuring it out as we go. As the night wound down, Zira and Reed stood by the viewport, stars stretching endlessly before them. Your people are resilient, Zira said. Like us, you keep pushing forward no matter the odds. Reed nodded. And you're curious, like us. That's a good start. Zira's scales glowed a warm gold, a sign of hope. Yeah, she said softly, it is. Zira's boots echoed softly in the Endeavor's science lab. A cluttered space filled with humming consoles and crates stacked haphazardly against the walls. The faint tang of ozone lingered in the air, a reminder of the ship's recent brush with an ion storm. She was helping Dr. Liam Chen calibrate a spectrometer but her eyes kept drifting to a crate labeled Historical Artifacts in bold human script. Curiosity tugged at her scales shifting to a bright yellow. "What's in there?" she asked, nodding toward the crate. Chen glanced up, adjusting his glasses. "Just some relics from Earth. Stuff we brought for education or morale. Want to see?" "Absolutely," Zira said, her translator humming. "I'm all about history," Chen chuckled. "Careful, some of it's fragile. Don't want to explain to Earth why we broke a priceless artifact." Zira opened the crate, revealing a treasure trove. Faded photographs of ancient cities, a leather-bound book, a chunk of moon rock, and a small, metallic object etched with intricate carvings. Her breath caught as she recognized the symbols, identical to those in the Temple of Stars on Xerion, sacred glyphs tied to the Old Ones, mythical starfarers who gifted her people knowledge and vowed to return. "What's this?" she asked, holding up the object, her voice trembling. Chen leaned closer. "That's the Enigma relic, found in Antarctica in the 1990s, buried under ice. The symbols don't match any known language, and the material isn't from Earth's periodic table. Some say it's from a lost civilization. Others think it's alien." Zira's scales flashed blue, signaling deep thought. "On Xerion, these symbols are in our oldest temples linked to the Old Ones, beings who taught us about the stars before vanishing. They promised to return when we needed them most." Chen's jaw dropped. "You're saying this relic might be from your world? Or," Zira said, her mind racing, "your people are connected to the Old Ones. Maybe they visited Earth, left this behind, and now you've brought it back to us." They rushed to the mess hall where both crews were gathered. Luna the cat sprawled on a table, purring contentedly. Zira held up the relic, explaining its significance. The Xerians gasped, their scales shimmering, while the humans leaned forward, intrigued. Reed spoke first. "On Earth, we've got stories like that, ancient astronaut theories. People think aliens visited us long ago, leaving clues in pyramids or artifacts. There was even the Roswell incident in 1947, where some claimed a crashed UFO was covered up. Most call it a myth, but this relic makes you wonder." Vasquez nodded. "If this is true, our histories are linked in ways we never imagined." Talak crossed his arms, smirking. "So these squishy humans are our ancient gods. I thought the Old Ones would be taller." Laughter rippled through the room, easing the tension. Reed grinned. "Well, if we're legends, do we get capes? Or something?" Patel, eyes wide, added, "This is wild, like we're in an alien prophecy." Zira smiled. "Maybe. Our legends say the Old Ones left artifacts like this, made of a material that bends light, almost alive. This relic fits that description perfectly." Chen frowned, skeptical. "But how? Humans haven't been to Xerion. Unless time travel? Or a third species? Historians still debate whether the Old Ones were our ancestors, a separate species, or something else," Zira said. "Some think it's coincidence, but this relic suggests contact happened, maybe thousands of years ago." Harris chuckled. "Guess we're not just fixing a ship anymore. We're solving a cosmic mystery." Talak picked up a photograph from the crate, squinting. "Your ancestors wore weird hats. Is that a dead animal on their heads?" Chen laughed. "Welcome to human fashion, Talak. It's complicated." As the discussion deepened, both crews speculated. Perhaps the Old Ones were a shared ancestor, or humans and Xerians had crossed paths eons ago. Maybe the relic was a key to more discoveries. For now, the revelation united them, transforming strangers into allies bound by a shared past. Zira placed the relic back in its crate, her scales glowing a warm gold. "Hope. Whatever the truth," she said. "You're here now, and that feels like the Old Ones kept their promise." Reed nodded, his expression thoughtful. "Let's find out what else our histories share. Together." As Luna nuzzled Zira's hand, the room buzzed with excitement. The stars outside seemed brighter, as if whispering secrets of a universe where myths were real and two species were just beginning to write their next chapter. Zira stood on the Vindicator's bridge, her scales a steady green as she watched the stars glide past. The Endeavor was docked alongside, its crew hammering away at repairs after that nasty ion storm. The air buzzed with the hum of consoles and a faint ozone tang, a lingering scar from their recent chaos. Captain Marcus Reed leaned against a console, scrolling through a status report while Luna, the Endeavor's cat, sprawled nearby, purring like a tiny engine. "We're almost there," Reed said, his voice calm but tired. "Another day and we'll be ready to jump." Zira nodded, her translator implant humming softly. "Good. The sooner we're both space-worthy, the better." But before Reed could reply, the bridge erupted in chaos. Alarms screamed, red lights, flashing like a cosmic warning sign. Talak at the sensor station hissed through his teeth. "We've got company, big, ugly, and packing serious heat." Reed shrugged. "Yours plan like nobody's business. We balance each other out." As the planning wrapped, Chen held up the datapad. "Route set. We're ready for the jump." Zira's scales glowed gold. Hope. "Then let's find out what the old ones left us." The crews cheered, their voices mingling like a song across species. The stars outside seemed to beckon, whispering of a future where humans and Zirians would face the unknown together. Zira's heart races as the Vindicator slices through the nebula's shimmering clouds, the Endeavor trailing close behind. The air on the bridge buzzes with the hum of consoles, tinged with the sharp scent of ionized particles filtering through the vents. Her scales glow a steady green, focused yet electric with anticipation. The Enigma relic, clutched in her hand, pulses, in sync with the coordinates, its light guiding them to a massive, crystalline structure floating in the void, an archive of the old ones, its facets gleaming like frozen starlight. Captain Marcus Reed's voice crackles over the comms from the Endeavor. "That's one heck of a library. Think they've got a late fee policy?" Zira's translator hums, catching his humor. "Let's hope not," she replies, smiling. "We're already on borrowed time." Talak at his station snorts. "Looks like a giant snowflake. Hope it's not as fragile as your human plans." Captain Vark shoots Talak a look, his faded scales glinting. "Focus. Sensors show energy spikes. Defenses, maybe. Stay sharp." The ships dock at the archive's entrance, a seamless portal that opens at the relic's signal. Zira, Reed, Dr. Liam Chen, Dr. Elena Vasquez, and Tilak form an away team. Stepping into a vast chamber, where holographic panels pulse with data. The air hums with a low, resonant frequency, like a cosmic heartbeat, and the walls shimmer with glyphs matching the relics. "Welcome to the Old One's vault," Chen whispers, his glasses reflecting the glow. "This is next level." The team moves cautiously, but a grid of lasers snaps to life, blocking their path. "Puzzles," Talak groans. "Why can't ancient aliens just leave a manual?" Chen grins, scanning the grid. "Because they love drama. This is like a cosmic escape room." Zira interfaces the relic with a control node, its signal disabling the lasers. They reach a central platform where a holographic figure appears, another old one, its form radiant. "You, the seated kin, have come," it intones, translated by the Vindicator's matrix. "We built this archive to share our knowledge, technology, unity, peace. Use it wisely, for the galaxy's future rests with you." The hologram reveals the archive's purpose, a repository to guide civilizations toward cooperation. Its energy system, powered by cosmic rays, regenerates indefinitely, an unusual trait that awes Chen. "This place could run forever," he says. "No power bill, ever." Back on the Vindicator's bridge, the crews gather to discuss. Reed leans forward. "This is bigger than us. Back in 1969, Apollo 11's moon landing showed we could dream big. This archive, it's our chance to dream galactic." Zira nods, her scales shifting to a thoughtful purple. "Our Unity Festival centuries ago brought our clans together after war. We celebrate it with songs under the stars. This feels like that, a new unity." Vasquez frowns. "But should we share this knowledge? Earth's had wars over less. What if it's misused? Chen adjusts his glasses. Good point. Scholars argue whether advanced tech should be open or guarded. Give everyone fusion power, you get progress, or chaos. Zira's scales flicker. We've had the same debate. When we found 0-point energy, some wanted it hidden. Historians still argue if sharing it saved us or sparked conflicts. Reed smirks. Well, if we mess this up, at least we'll go down as the coolest failures in history. Talak laughs, his tail flicking. Speak for yourself. I'm not failing with a cat watching. Luna, perched on a console, yawns, earning chuckles. The crews agree to share the archive's knowledge, responsibly, forming a joint council to oversee its distribution. They download data on sustainable energy, medical tech, and diplomacy, vowing to use it for peace. In the Endeavor's mess hall, they celebrate with Zirian nectar and human juice, music filling the air, human rock blending with Zirian chants. Zira and Reed stand by the viewport, stars stretching endlessly. Your people never quit, Zira says. It's why the old ones chose you. Reed shrugs. Yours think 10 steps ahead. We're a good team. As Luna nuzzles Zira's hand, the crew's laughter echoes, a testament to a bond forged across stars. The archive's legacy isn't just knowledge. It's a promise of a future where humans and Zirians shape the galaxy together.